all of a sudden I was a fourth line plug being interviewed when I'm on the road or whether it was at home, because they were just looking for any type of personality. And given the fact that I was playing in Arizona, I was probably able to get away with it a little bit more, like what I was tweeting out. And back then, it was Twitter was the wild, wild west, and not everybody.
Yeah, but Biz, you also had a profile that had way more followers than anybody in the sport. And like you said,
because I would be telling regular fans who were calling me a plug to go f themselves, and people were like if I was playing on the Devils when Lou was around, I would have been shipped to the East Coast League, right? But because it was Arizona, and it's almost like they were embracing the attention that they were getting and media hits, that they kind of let me fly to a certain level. Rich Nair, who was my boss there, was kind of awesome, and from a PR perspective, he was helping me kind of find a proper lane to where Don Maloney a couple of times were like, Biz, I got called into the office. He's like, what the is this? And I'm like, yeah, I guess I crossed the line a little bit.
Yeah,
but,
my bad.
Yeah, my bad. I got a little pee-pee whack, and then on my way.
Was that the moment, was that the thing that took you from Biz Nasty to Biz Nasty 2.0? Because didn't you have to shut it down?
No, that was the Kovalchuk thing when I said, sorry. I said, sorry, communist, back to the Soviet when his deal got rejected. So everybody was losing their minds. And then my agent called, and he's like, you got to get off Twitter. He goes, nothing good can come of this. And I was scared.
Well, I beg to differ now, but
12 years later.
Boy, was he wrong. Eh?
Boy, was he wrong.
But at the time, I was scared because he's like, buddy, they're going to maybe rip up your contract. So I was like, what? So I got off Twitter, and then all of a sudden, all these season ticket holders started emailing the Coyotes, and then Rich Nair, and he's like, hey, are you telling people that we told you to delete your Twitter? And I was like, no, I just got off because my agent scared the shit out of me and basically said that I would have my deal ripped off if I continued at the pace I'm on. And he's like, okay. And then he went back to Don Maloney and the team, because I think fans were threatening to cancel their season tickets.
I read that. I remember that. Yeah.
So he was like, let's work something out here. And he goes, listen, okay. So he went to Don Maloney, and he came back. He goes, Biz, let's jump back on, but from now on, I'll monitor it, and anything that you're like, hey, maybe it's a little borderline, you send to me. I'll put it through my filter, the team's filter, and then we'll move on, and everything will run a lot smoother.
So my family got a kick out of it, but they all knew. They're like, are you going to change? And I said, of course not. I'm going to be me. I was actually told, do less music in your personal life. And I'm like, are you crazy? Like, what are you, crazy? Gary Bettman obviously wasn't in charge of the broadcast, but Gary called me, and I said to him, what are you crazy? You guys don't want this. I know what you think you want, but it's not this. I know what I wanted to do would work and would have prepared it. What's really funny is I listened to you guys. I watched your stuff. I love when you had Puck Daddy on not that long ago. What we were trying to do was before all that, it was 100%. Trying to bring that kind of podcast. Seaballs, it's what you did with Mako on your radio show. We were all just a little too ahead of our time. And now look at your success and look at what you guys are able to do. You two guys, this space didn't exist for you even 10 years ago. What's ironic? And again, I didn't see them, but this is what the people who ended up firing me, what they told me was, they said, what's funny is that the numbers are actually higher with women and people under 30 with you as the host.
Shocking.
Isn't that the goal?
Exactly what the demographic they were looking for.
Isn't that the goal? But again, I don't mind it. The industry's been so good to me that you get hired, you get fired. I don't worry so much about it, because again, it's to me, the whole career is, what is the daily experience like for me? And then when I sit back and look back, am I happy with the choices I made? I got to host Hockey Night in Canada, even if it was only for a couple of years, doesn't matter. I think it was so dope.
Did you have some of those brushes with greatness, whether you crossed paths with Beliveau or even, the Rocket's still alive at that time, still around, or Iginla?
Rocket was alive. Look, I grew up a huge Habs fan.
Okay.
I knew everything about them. I still say Chris Nyland's underrated. The guy had 20 goals twice, or I think 19 and 21, whatever it is. He could put the puck in the net. And I really loved the Habs, and I loved Chris Nyland. I could tell you all their stats, everything else. So it was surreal for me to go to that team, first of all, okay? And now I didn't like Michel Therrien, and we can get into that. I didn't like Michel Therrien.
I think a lot of people didn't.
Pretty cool.
Well, now you see that. But at the time, no one really knew it. And I didn't want to rat him out. There was no social media. I did never say it to my agent. I should have. I know you didn't ask me this, but he was just ignorant. Like, it wasn't just me. It wasn't a French-English thing. He would chain smoke on the bus and kind of want you to ask him why, please, Mike, can you not do that? Well, you. Who are you then? Who are you? Who are you? You fucking go out. You fucking play. You fucking play good, I don't smoke. Like it was always something. There was always some kind of thing to get your mind. I just didn't like him. And if you want me to go into some specifics about the first year in Fredericton, that was an eye-opener.
I'd love to hear it. You can rip on coaches on this podcast. Go right ahead. I never did for years, guys. And the other thing is everybody's got a story. Now, I know that I was good enough to and I do think you give a first rounder 100 games to fail. That's what I think. My skating was never great, but I adapted to whatever league I was in. But again, I got nothing against the Habs. Ray John Houle was the GM when I was there. He took my daughter to her first game last year. So it's not just me getting the run into the stuff. I'm not saying that. I had numbers on Michel Therrien. I had numbers under Rookie of the Year for him. 21 goals, 256 minutes. But the method that he got to bring the best out of each player was one that would leave you broken mentally. And I'd never been treated like that before. It was my third or fourth game in the minors. Again, I get first round pick, right? 18, 19. I'm with the Habs for those 4 games. I go down at the deadline, but the thing is, I go to Red Deer. I have 2 points a game. I set the record in the playoffs for 3 rounds. I had 18 goals in 16 games. No fights, right? So my game's back. So I come in on a high. I think I have a chance to make the Habs, and they didn't make the playoffs the year before. Third or fourth game, he calls me in. I sit down, and he's got his desk, and his chair is always a little bit higher than everybody else's. Like he wanted that mental dominance. And he sits me like, 15 feet away. He's behind his desk. I'm just there in a chair looking up at him. And he lights up a cigarette, and he's looking at me. And I was going to say, well, why'd you call me in here? But I didn't. And then I'm just looking straight into his eyes. Now, that can be uncomfortable, right? I'm like, okay, if he's not going to speak, so I'm just looking straight into his eyes. Okay. And he's looking straight into mine, and now we don't want to break. We're just looking at each other. We're looking at each other. He smokes it right down to the butt, puts it out, and says, get the out of my office. That was the meeting. Not a word said, smoked a cigarette, blew it at me, and told me to get the out of his office. So I'm going, oh, Jesus. I come out. Some of the guys on my team, Sylvain Blouin, Francis Bouillon, Marc Bocage, Stéphane Robida, they knew him from junior. And they said, well, that's just the way he is. I'm like, just the way he is. Like a mega head? Like, what do you mean? Yeah. He's the coach. He determines our goddamn fate. Next game, I get my first shift with 30 seconds left, and there's getting the tap, and then there's this. He grabbed, and he went like this, and he said, you go out and fight Jeff Ware right now.
Jeff was a big boy. Jeff was like 6'4", 6'5".
I know he was, and I didn't want to fight him. I had nothing against him. He wasn't ever looking for it. He was a player he was an honest player.
Yeah.
And it felt ridiculous. I just had enough. I often tell these stories. If Michel Therrien was here now, the difference is, Kami, Babcock is still kind of in the, and he doesn't seem to have, is learning a lesson a thing, but he's still relevant for the wrong reasons. I don't know. Maybe Michel got to be a better person. Maybe I really don't know. Maybe he got remarried or he found some epiphany. If he was here, the first thing I would do is shake his hand and try to talk about it, because the one thing that I didn't do, I didn't go back to camp, and at no point did I actually just walk in his office and say, okay, how do we figure this out? Right. I don't like you, you don't like me, but I think we had more in common than we didn't. We just never really saw it. I was too young, and he was a young coach. And unfortunately, things worked out the way they did. But where I sit today, I can't really complain.
Yeah, but that's that's big of you to say. That's also a lot, like you touched on. That's a lot for a young guy to go in and have to figure it out. Like, it should be the other way around. Yeah. No, I mean, he should be trying to. He's the coach. You're just a young kid trying to make your way. Yeah, that's too bad.
I was playing with Brendan Shanahan and Yzerman in the first game. I'm thrilled. Whoever I'm playing with, it's like a video game. It's awesome. And then Mario's line was Mario, Joe Sakic, Paul Kariya. That's the first line. You know what I mean? And like, that's pretty impressive. So we do our meeting, and then the lines come out. And my line now is Joe Sakic and Simon Gagne. And, Mario's with Kariya. And I can't remember who the other one was. But the biggest part of that was Joe Sakic now is playing with the two youngest guys. And in my head, I'm thinking, oh, I wonder how he feels about that, So he comes over after the meeting. Joe comes over. Simone sat near me. We sat in the kids' corner kind of thing where they put the youngest guys. And he comes over and he goes, hey, you two young bucks, I'm excited to play with you guys. We're going to be a great line. I love your energy. Let's go do this, And so right there, he like the leadership that you get from that is that he knew we were feeling that, like I was. If he didn't want to like make me feel a little more comfortable, I probably would have been like nervous, always pass, you know what I mean? And just for him to realize that, and that for the young guys, and he went on to have an amazing tournament. He won the MVP. Mario's line was great, but playing with Joe, our line was good too, so it was really cool. And that was something that you when you go as a young guy to these things and you see the way people work, you see the way they carry themselves, Mario, Yzerman, Sakic, it's such a privilege to get to be a part of it because you learn so much. And a big part of it is those guys aren't just born that way. They work very, very hard, and it was a great lesson as a young guy. But yeah, I wanted to share that one about Joe because I thought that was awesome, and we were pumped that we obviously went on to win it, but that he also got the MVP.
Awesome. Well, you had a couple of goals. I think 3 points in the gold medal game in 2002. Like, where does that game rank for you in terms of like, man, you were a monster. You're talking about Sakic and Mario, but that was Iggy's spotlight moment too.
Oh, that game was definitely one of my highlight games of my career. You get in that. We hadn't won in Canada men's hockey for 50 years at that point. Playing the U.S., the U.S. scored first that game. Like, it was back and forth. It doesn't matter if you get any goals, points, and anything, obviously, in any of those games. But to be able to score 2 goals, and I think Sakic had like 2 and 2. It was like, our line kind of went off that game. It was pretty neat.
Ed, how you doing?
Hey, how you guys doing? Are we talking now?
Yeah, we're talking now.
We're about to.
Yeah. Cybulski, that Red Fox shirt, major points for the Red Fox shirt. That. It almost makes up for the fact you're holding the microphone instead of it being on, like, what are you, ringside at a 1970s wrestling event? Like, what?
Yeah.
He wishes he was.
Yeah, I wish I was, exactly. Yeah, 100%. You know what? The mic stand I have doesn't hold this, and I suppose if I just spent the $10 and got a clip for it, I can change it. But yeah.
That's okay. This is podcasting. Who has $10?
Well, that's it. Exactly.
And as much as I'd like your Red Fox shirt, thanks for dressing up for the occasion.
Well, it was casual Thursday for us.
Oh, okay. All right. So what do you want from me?
All right, let's dive in. It's Ed the Sock, and as you can see, he's ready to go. He's fired up. He's in a mood already. Ed, let's start with the Leafs, because I just feel like we keep waiting for this team. It's the year. This window for the cup has been. Yeah. How do you feel about this? This year?
Any idiot who every year it's like, this is the year. No, it's not. This is last year and the year before and the years before that. Because why would a team management ownership spend money to make a team a winner when they can make just as much money or more from a loser? At this point in time, they might as well just put some chimps on the ice. At least then it would be more entertaining, and people would stop. Who knows? They may even actually be better. I don't know. I've never seen chimps play hockey, but this is not the year. It is never going to be the year. It'll be the year when every other team drops out.
The Rats. Tell us about the Rats.
It was, I think, the first game of the year. Because it was such a shithole rink, it was been there forever. During kind of preparation, ready out for warm-up, this rat kind of started buzzing around the locker room, and Scott Mellenby whacked it, ended up killing it. And that night, he ended up getting 2 goals, so they kind of named it a rat trick, and the media got a hold of that, and then the fans got a hold of it, and then ever since then, these rats started getting people hoisting them on the ice, and we all know they implemented a new rule just because of the rat. But still, to this day, I mean, the Panthers do it. They throw their rats at the end of the game now, which is kind of cool, because I was a part of that group that this all originated from. So it's good to see that tradition kind of carry on. You see other teams, obviously, with the octopus and the catfish in Nashville. So the fans have fun.
And it was organic too, right? Like, honestly, like that's like a hockey movement we've seen, like the Storm surge in recent years. And like you said, the octopus, but like that was just organic, that here we are in the mid 90s and you've got this Nobody thought of Florida as being a hockey market, and all of a sudden you've got thousands of rats pelting the ice on this unexpected Stanley Cup. Like long before Vegas, there's the Florida Panthers. This is your second year in the league, and all of a sudden, like, here's a team in the Stanley Cup final with a roster that I don't think anybody would have said, man, there's the Vegas model. Like, let's follow the Florida model. Like, that was just a bunch of characters and came together at the right time. And Van Beesbrook got hot.
Well, that's it. I mean, you look at the way teams are kind of made up now with expansion, and it is what it is. I mean, it's nice to put a product on the ice where you get the support and you have a chance to make the playoffs.
Mick Magoo, God rest his soul. We didn't see eye to eye ever. And
he was to your point, like, and I'll back that up. Like, he was the older guys, right? Like, you had McCreary and those guys all talked to you, but Mick was, he liked to give it back way more than those other guys. He didn't take anything.
Yeah, exactly, Razor. I had a great rapport with all the refs, and I was always chirping them, trying to get a power play in our favor, did you see that? Did you see that? I'm always like, hey, this guy's trying to show you up. And, it was joking around, but I felt like I could get a few power plays a game, and especially in important times. So, but anytime I talked to Mick, anytime my career, he always put his hand up in my face, and I was like, I'm like, okay, all right, buddy, and then of course I wasn't playing well that game, and I felt like I was interfered with. Didn't matter. Game was over. It was like a 5-2 win for them, and it was the end of the game. So I got up, and I wanted to catch him before he got there. He's not going to talk to me anyway, and I didn't have a great relationship with him. But I went into the corner, and Razor, you'll know this by being a goalie. When you hit the post, you have an outside missing edge, right? But you don't know it till the next day till you skate around the rink and you're doing crossovers, and you're like, oh. So I think I got on that outside edge, and I probably had lost it by hitting the post, and I slipped and I fell, and it wasn't on purpose. But Colin Campbell called me, and I had a call with him to be suspended. So the mayor of Ottawa was trying to get me suspended. He was very vocal, and it was a big deal. Yeah, it was. And a lot of pressure, but Colin Campbell called me, and so I'm in the visitors' room the morning before the game, and he's like, hey, I should suspend you. And as soon as he said that, I was like, not getting suspended. Nice. Yep. And so it was a big deal. They're trying to get me suspended, but I never regret it. And literally when it comes on TV on top 10 meltdowns all the time, on Toronto TV, if I'm with my sons who are in their 20s and they're very funny guys and they're hockey guys, they always go, hey, Dad, that's embarrassing. That's embarrassing to our family. So we're always like, hey, we won the series. Calm down.
Exactly.
Barney, props to you because you sent our show viral over the better part of the last 2 months. Like, the amount of reactions and comments I get on social media still.
A lot of people can point to Marty Brodeur or Patrick Waugh, and listen, I if you played with them, I understand we always have a loyalty that way. Or Dom is by far, in my opinion, the best goaltender to ever play the game.
Agree.
To me, there's no one even close.
Really?
Not even remotely close.
Okay. Yeah.
And I hate the guy. The worst teammate ever. Ever. Hardest worker on the ice.
Yeah.
He would come in after the second period. We'd be down 2-1. Guys, give him breakaways. I stop him, just go score a goal. We'd find a way. It would go off my ass or peck his ass or someone's ass, and we'd win the game 3-2. Without him, we don't make the playoffs probably 6 of those 7 years. That's how good he is. Dominant. The best of all time. But teammate, and I saw this guy do and pull with teammates and fans, and listen, he's not a great dude at all. And when I say great, that's not what I want to use. This guy can be a serial douchebag at times. Now, I'm sure he's 75 years old now and a lot better.
Right.
But no, I wouldn't piss on him if he was on fire. and this is a guy when he went to the Hall of Fame, his agent was Rich Winter, and I remember getting an email. Hey Matthew, Dom would love to invite you to his Hall of Fame party in Toronto, and my response was, "You know I hate him, right?"
All right. You ready to go, f***ers?
Yeah, I'm ready to go. I've been up all morning. God damn it.
When was the last time you got up at 6 a.m.? All right. Here we go. In 3, 2, and in 1.